So I had to cut my last introduction short, and I didn't actually get to introduce myself, but I go by UV Indigo Oracle in the YouTube or blogging internet realm, whatever you want to call this. I have many different projects, different blogs, different websites under many different titles, names. I don't know why I've chosen to do that. I guess experimenting with various ways to put information out there to the world. This channel is going to be focused on my absolute favorite topic in the universe, which is Stankov's universal law, the new general theory of science of the universal law, or I guess some people call it the universal law of nature, the universal law of all that is. I found this channel through my own personal search for the truth. When my awakening started, I remember so many different types of images coming through, and I started putting all these puzzle pieces together through many different other scientists like Albert Einstein and Tesla, just to name a couple of them. And I started putting all these symbols together, and to me, in my mind, I started seeing that there was this pattern, this equation, if you will, and I started connecting all these different dots, and I thought to myself, I feel like there's this universal truth and I want to find it. And of course I started with Google, and I typed in, and this is after years of struggling with my spirituality, and I put in a certain amount of words together into Google, like the yin yang, flower of life, a law that encompasses all laws. I don't remember the exact search terms, but I remember finding Stankov Universal Law website, and I was absolutely blown away and astounded. I immediately felt that every word that was spoken on this website immediately resonated with my being. Now, during that period of time, I had no idea that I guess I was an indigo crystal. I mentioned that in my first video very briefly. I'm kind of shy about those terms. I've come to terms with the fact that this is what I am, but at the same time, I'm shy about ever trying to tell anyone about it. I would rather people just think I'm a strange human. And I also have received a lot of different information, I guess channelings. I've realized different other aspects of my path that are pretty shocking to myself. And it's finally reached this point where we are in history where I guess I've always known that I needed to make a YouTube channel to talk about the universal law in a different way, because I've tried to post information in many ways out there in regards to the universal law, and it seems as though it is not quite reaching people the way that I feel it should and that it could. And I've noticed that there is not really any information on YouTube about Stankov's universal law. So I thought, what if I started basically reading some of the reports, the information, and of course his amazing findings in regards to the new general theory of science of the universal law, which would include, if you give me a moment here, I'll actually type it in, because these are long titles, so it's hard for me sometimes to remember. For instance, what is it? The new general theory of biological hold on a second. I'm not remaking this video, so you'll have to just deal with my mishaps. Thank you for your patience. Okay. So, on his website, he's reposted this whole book, which has, I believe, 3 different volumes. And a lot of this is based in like physics, except it's got a lot of the missing parts to the physics that we aren't taught in high school. I'm going to pause this for just a moment. Okay, thank you for your patience. So, it is volume 3, The General Theory of Biological Regulation, the Universal Law in Bioscience and Medicine. This is the 3rd volume of his book, which is, if I go back here, An Easy Propedeutics into the New Physical and Mathematical Science of the Universal Law for non-idiotic scientists, intelligent light workers, and all humans with a sincere quest of true knowledge and rapid spiritual evolution. I have been researching this new theory of the universal law since 2014, or no, it was actually 2013. It was 2014 that I actually sent Dr. Georgi Stankov an email expressing something that I had written. It's actually a poem. It's kind of multiple poems combined into one, and I'd been working on it for a long time. I'd only shared it with a few people, and I sent it to him, and he actually ended up publishing it on his website, and I was actually pretty shocked. I was very happy. It's a pretty intense poem. I'll get into that at a later juncture in time. Like I said, I really just want to stay focused on the universal law of all that is. It is a very important subject to me, and it is an important subject in my mind to the rest of humanity. If spiritual evolution, evolving this whole planet, means anything to you at all. I've noticed that in the lightworker community, there are very few people who actually know about this, and I'm surprised because while everyone is being affected by the planetary ascension team, which I'll also get into later, this scientist who has published this website doesn't just post his own articles. He posts articles from various light workers, light warriors, people who really have delved into the truth on another level, have risked their lives to dispel the truth. And so those people that post these articles are considered part of the planetary ascension team. I consider this website to be, in a sense, almost the mainstream news for the lightworking community. I just wish that I could connect with more lightworkers and talk to them about this. It seems that when I've tried to do this, there is just such a wall still. Many people still close to it. And if people were to really dig into this information, they would find so many different types of answers for everything happening in the whole existence right now, when it comes to health and medicine and spirituality. Anytime that I see anything in the news that is related to disease, I immediately look up information on Dr. Georgi Stankov's website. And if there isn't an article about it, I email him and hope that maybe he'll bring up a topic about it, which is what many other people have done with this website, which is how it has been cultivated. So, one of the subjects I would actually like to bring up to him, which I've noticed is not on his website at all, is in regards to people with RH negative blood types. But like I said, I want to keep this focused right now on the information that I'm going to introduce. So, let me give you, hopefully, a short introduction here. This is deep, guys. This is very, very deep. So if you're an Arcturian starseed, if you're a Pleiadian starseed, if you're a crystal indigo child, and you are truly seeking the truth on a scientific level, this is it. I'm telling you. I would be willing to give up my life to tell you this. On his website, in the introduction, it starts off with an open letter to scientists, and it states, "This letter announcing the existence of the new integrated physical and mathematical theory of the universal law was sent personally to 10,000 physicists worldwide in the month of June 2017. It is crucial to document this fact at this place, as we must assume that the physicists will reject this revolutionary discovery in science and human knowledge and will resort to their usual deliberate silence driven by their unprocessed basic fears of survival that condition them to social cowards with a very limited intellectual ability and lack of any moral responsibility and ethical principles. Modern science claims to have a monopoly on the truth about nature and has become a modern religion of utter agnosticism based on the worshipping of empty empiricism and the development of numerous meaningless and contradictory hypotheses that cannot explain the magic of life. The reason for this cognitive ignorance of all scientists and their new religion of empirical dogmas is that they reject the true nature of energy equals space-time equals all that is equals the primary term of human consciousness from which the universal law and its entire theory is derived. All that is conscious, continuous energy. It is unlimited, omniscient, creative awareness, and we human beings are a particular and very insignificant system of it. In essence, modern empirical science eliminated God from human thinking, while scientists became the new caste of rogue pastors who preach total ignorance and the negation of the soul and the only relevant fact in life, that humans are unlimited creator beings of this and any other reality in the multiverse. For that reason, when the new theory of the universal law will be introduced on this planet in the course of this year, from the position of immortality, as announced on this website many years ago, it will lead to the total demolition of the hypertrophied, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I'm going to have to look that up after this, scientific ego of all self-proclaimed scientific preachers of false knowledge, so that the entire structure of their fake science that negates God's proof will be also abolished once and for all. It will not be allowed that the scientists will come up as usual with their cowardly excuses that they did not know about the discovery of the universal law more than 20 years ago. They will be ruthlessly exposed for their effort to bury, with all conceivable means, its propagation and revealed as false prophets of a dogmatic, godless system of fake, empirical knowledge that only leads to total ignorance and suppression of the human spirit and hinders the evolution of humanity. Those are words to start a war in this world. He is challenging the system on a very, very different level with those words, except he has all the information and the most beautiful science to back it. Like, if you are a hungry scientist searching for true knowledge and you have studied bioscience, you've studied physics, and you just feel like there's just so much lacking and you're craving so much more, I guarantee you would find it in this. If you really delve deep into it, you will find it. When I was growing up, I wanted to go to school to be a scientist so badly, except I always felt like there was something missing from it, and I even tried to go to college, but my path kept getting redirected, so I just have a 4.0 just sitting there, and I'm not doing anything with it because I believe that the education system is completely indoctrinating humanity, and I would rather study this real information and feed my soul and feed my brain real truth and actually help people. So that is my goal here and why I'm doing this. There's a little quote at the end of that first little introduction that says, "In questions of science, the authority of 1,000 is not worth the humble reasoning of a single individual." Galileo. So, it goes into another subject, but I'm just going to leave the link to the beginning of this, and I'm going to go into this at a different point in time. Like I said, I'm going to have to split this up in sections because we're talking about information that's pages and pages and pages long, and I've also considered reading specific articles from other PAT members. This is just a very important thing to me, I feel. It's not just me though, it's the collective. The collective is craving this information whether they know it or not. So I would like to put it out there in a different avenue, which is through YouTube, in hopes that people will find it and gain something from it. Sometimes it's easier to hear someone else speaking the words than to read it yourself. Sometimes it's easier to understand under a different light, which I think is also why Dr. Georgi is trying to reach out to different scientists to have them look into this information and not be afraid to go to their peers and say, hey, take a look at this science. This is real science. Let's do something with this. Let's teach it in schools. Like, I would love to be able to go to college and have this be my major, but I can't do that because they're not teaching it. They're not teaching the science that I want to learn. So I have to wait for them to catch up for me to want to go back to school. Until then, I'm going to teach it, whether they give me permission to or not, whether I have the title as scientist or not, whether I have the title as doctor or not. I'm going to teach it in the best way that I can. Now, that can be difficult because there's a lot of information here. There is a lot of vocabulary, new vocabulary that we're going to have to get into. So I'm going to have to split everything up into sections so that people can, what's the word I'm looking for? Absorb the material, and I'll try to have everything in a way that's easy to absorb, basically. So I want to say that's it for right now. I want to read so much more. I crave this knowledge day and night. I crave to want to share it day and night. I knew that at some point in time I was going to get to this point, and I wish that my video could be more professional. I wish I could have a bunch of fancy stuff, but I basically have had so many things happen in my life, I feel like, preventing me from doing this very mission. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, even if it's the most roughest rough draft ever, I've got to start somewhere. So this is it. So once again, I'm UV Indigo Oracle, and I would love to present to you the new general theory of the universal law by Dr. Georgi Stankov, and his website is stankovuniversallaw.com. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day. Love and light to you all.